Okay, guys. This is the Moving On TV phone. It's a bit messy, but this is the Moving On TV phone. All right. Every evening, every night from 12 at night till 2 a.m. in the morning, this line will be open for people that can't sleep because of worry, because they're stressed out about what's going on. And what we will do is give you 15 minutes to 20 minutes. You can talk about how you feel, and then we will create a small goal for you to do, something to help you move on. This is based on the therapeutic community. This is how we ran the therapeutic community on the 24-hour support system. So this will be from 12 o'clock at night to 2 a.m. in the morning, the hug line on Moving On TV. Okay? So please try to remember that. So if you need to talk to someone, the way things are, and you need to talk to someone, we're opening the Moving On TV hug line, a virtual hug based on the therapeutic community way. You will get 10, well, I said 15 to 20 minutes where you can talk about how you feel, but then you will come out with some kind of solution, whether it's getting a coloring book or making yourself a cup of tea or planning something nice to do the next day, something to give you some hope. All right. And you're always invited around here to my house, to the bunker. You can come to the bunker anytime you want. You know, guys, you know I never buy into any of this stuff. So you can come to the bunker anytime you want, all right? You just have to text and come and visit, all right? I know how it is to be lonely and on your own continuously. And I don't want anybody to feel that they can't contact someone, all right? So it's from 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. every night. Open hug line. Now, this is not a victimhood line because at the end of it, we will create a solution. All right, so you'll ring up, you can cry, you can talk for 15 minutes, you can let it all out for 15 minutes. And then at the end of it, we will create a solution, okay? Because it's based on the therapeutic community model and it works. It works, okay? So put that number down. Anybody who feels they may need a contact at night, all right? 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. in the morning. If you need a solution to help you move on with your life the following day, you can come and visit the bunker. You know, I'm meeting amazing people because I've got the guts to do this and because I want to help humanity. This is my way to help humanity. There's not much else I can do. Please go on the government website as well. But this is a little promo that I'm going to do, a little promo for the hug line. So at the moment, it will be open from 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. in the morning for those of you who can't sleep and those of you who have no one to talk to because everyone's asleep. All right? There you go. The hug line, and it's based on the therapeutic community. Insomniacs who need a hug, a small goal at the end of this. That's it. I'm not going to be doing Moving On TV today because I'm not very well at the moment myself. I'm waiting for the sun to come out. However, I will be on there for 12 a.m. And if you guys need me, I will listen to your pain for 15 to 20 minutes and then we'll set a solution. And as I say, the kind of solution we're likely to set is something like have you got any colouring in books? You know, do some coloring in because it calms the mind. All the techniques that I learned in the therapeutic community will be on the hug line. So please connect to us, guys. I will have this open between 12 and 2 a.m. All right. And if you can't get us, then text. All right. If you don't want to talk, then text, and I will text you back. But you know you've got that now. All right. A little bit extra for moving on TV. Um, what else can I say? Yeah, also I'm editing at the moment. I'm going to edit what I just told you about the government thing. You need to go on there, guys. This is a news flash. News flash. This is a new government review of evidence which you need to fill in. Okay, and I'm going to put it on. I'm going to make a little video and get it on BitChute as quickly as I can. You need to fill it in. You need to copy and paste from the website, and everybody will know about it if they're on Telegram. Everybody will know about it, you know, because it's circulating. Someone is circulating. I'm circulating it. Copy and paste it. Put it into an email. Answer the questions, and then email it back. Okay, to the email that I gave you. That's the email. Email it back with your answers. certification.cfe@cabinetoffice.gov.uk. Okay? That's what you can do to help us, to help yourself to not need a passport, if you know what I mean. Another one. Yeah? You get my drift? Okay, good. But this little message is about the hug line. All right? A couple of messages from Moving On TV. I'm going to put on, what shall I put on for you? Something to make you happy. I'm going to put something on to help you, make you feel good. Okay. I'll put on the community show with Pete Lang because he lost his daughter in a car crash. And if anyone can stay in such a gratitude and positive way and give you the love he does, maybe we could all learn from him. All right, guys?
Guys, welcome to Moving On TV and welcome to the community show. We're back and we're back with extraordinary people that have got wonderful stories, and today I've got one of them, a unique man, Pete Lang. Hi Pete, sorry to have you today.
Pleasure.
Thank you for being here. Now first of all, you come from America?
Yes, I was born and raised in the United States, and New York, born and raised in New York City. And when I went away to university, I went to the southern part of the United States, and now I consider North Carolina my home.
Okay, so as you can see, I've got the New York hat on, which is apt for Pete. So go on, so tell me a little bit, how long have you been in the UK?
I've been here for 4 years, and I work for the largest tobacco company in the world.
Okay.
All right, which is a place called Alliance One, and they are a wholesaler. So they buy it from the farmers, and then they sell it to the people who make cigarettes and whatnot.
Okay.
All right. And so my job is to keep all the computer systems that run all the factories that deal with all of this tobacco in Europe and Africa.
Wow,
And
interesting.
so the company headquarters in the United States, and I've had the opportunity to go to Africa a number of times, and it's a wonderful place, and the job opportunity came up to kind of take care of Africa, and I jumped on it. That's how I'm here.
Wow. Well, one of the reasons I've got you on Moving on TV, because everyone who comes on to Moving on TV is positive, is unique, is doing something to make the world a better place. Now, I know Pete from Unity UK and Maidenhead, where we spread positive messages and sing and do all sorts of great stuff together. So tell me a little bit more about what you're doing with Africa, because that is a very inspiring thing.
Well, first time I was in Africa was with the Army, all right? And I was in Special Forces. I was a medic. And during the first Gulf War, the Americans the air base in Mombasa in Kenya, and then they just left. All right. So the Kenyans were not very happy with the Americans, and the Americans wanted to make nice. So they said, "Look, we'll rebuild your runway. We will send over a set of trainers, which was the Special Forces unit that was attached to go ahead and train a Special Forces unit for you, and which is parachuting. And then we'll also send over a medical team to go out to the desert and take care of people who haven't seen a doctor in a long time."
Right.
So
that's how you're basically contributing.
That's
by
right.
making sure that they get a medical team.
Well,
taken care of.
and actually, here's the thing about it. We had one medic, we had two doctors, a vet, and a dentist. All right.
Okay.
And of all those, I would say the dentist and the vet were the most valuable.
Okay.
All right, because you've been to the doctor. You go and they write down what's wrong with you, and they say, "All right, come back in 3 weeks, and then we'll look at it again." Well, in this situation, these people are never going to be seen by that doctor again. All right, what they can do is pretty limited. Mm-hmm. Whereas the dentist, if somebody has, usually what we ended up doing is pulling teeth. All right, somebody's got a tooth that hurts, and you pull it out. You have done them some good.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
And then with the animals, what we would do is we would inoculate them and deworm them. And that sounds kind of gross, I guess.
Yeah.
But what happened was all of the nutrition that was going to the worms was now being produced into meat and to milk that the families of the local villagers could consume. And when they heard that the Americans were coming and they were bringing, medicine for the animals, I mean, we'd come to a village and there'd be thousands of people there.
Right. Okay. So that's a bit of background news. Now, you're also very involved in Unity. Unity, as I say, is a very positive group, and that meets to promote abundance and healing and health and everything. Is it okay if I ask you a little bit about your story? Because I know you've been through a lot.
Yes.
You've been through a lot in life. I don't know enough about it, but I know you've been through a lot in life, and yet you're a very positive, very bubbly, very loving, very giving human being. So do you mind telling us just a little bit about your personal history?
Well, I grew up a white kid in a Puerto Rican black neighborhood.
Oh, wow.
I grew up in the hood. All right.
We got someone from the hood on Moving on TV, and
That's right. That's right. A matter of fact, what's the name of that rap group? There's a Christmas rap song about Christmas in Hollis, Queens.
Oh, don't ask me.
All right.
Well, about rap.
All right.
So anyway,
but be this as it may, be more as a house is where I live, and I didn't enjoy that very much. Most people tend to like wherever it was that they grew up is, this is home. I never felt that way about New York.
Okay, so you
So I left there and I went to school in Kentucky, at the University of Kentucky. And there isn't anything analogous to the feeling between the North and the South in the United States, in England. Closest thing might be Scotland and England, all right? In terms of, we had, they've had civil wars here, and we had a civil war in the United States, and the South lost, and they're still pretty angry about it. 150 years later, And so I was from the north.
Right.
And it reminded me every day that I was from the north.
Right.
And that I really didn't belong there. So, but, you know, made it through, and when I was a little kid, I decided I wanted to be a Green Beret. And then when the time came to graduate university, I went to a recruiter and said, can you make me a Green Beret? And he said, yes, I can. And sign right here. And as it turned out, normally you have to be on your second enlistment, you have to have done all these things, but they were hard up for people. So they would take anybody, that maxed out the entrance exams for the Army and was in good health, which fortunately I managed to do. So after I went into Special Forces, and then after that, became a computer guy. All right, and I've taught at all different levels. Sixth grade. What would they call sixth grade? I'm not exactly sure what it would be called here in Britain.
So sorry to stop you there, Pete.
Yeah.
So you came to the UK.
Yes.
But you went through some stuff in the UK, didn't you, with your children? Is that right? The only thing I had two daughters. One time before I came to the UK. All right. She got to as was what they call in the U.S. a one-car wreck, which means you did something stupid and you wrecked your own car, and it killed her instantly. And then my younger daughter, when she graduated from university, I promised her a trip wherever she wanted to go. So Okay.
when and as I was here, we spent 2 weeks cruising around, saw Shakespeare lived, and the ocean, and in Wales. We went all over the place.
So you came to England with your daughter and
Came with my wife.
with your wife?
Yes. I don't mean to sound like I've got an overly complex story, but
No, but we want to hear this because you're such a positive.
I came over with my wife, and then life was pretty good. We had our little place, and we had our way of life, and then my wife is Lebanese, and
Okay.
it is the duty of a Lebanese senior daughter to take care of her mother in her old age when she gets ill. So her mom got real sick one time, and my wife Nasia felt very, very guilty about it. But she didn't say anything to me, but she felt very, very guilty. So finally to her said, "Girl, go back.
Okay.
All right, I can live here by myself for the rest of my contract, which was at that point was 2.5 years. Mm-hmm. Now it's 11 months. I can take care of myself. All right, go take care of your mom." All right, so she did. So I've been here for the most part by myself, and the people at Unity have been as close as I get to family and friends.
That's fantastic. So, you see, this is what I want to put across in Moving on TV is it's awful. I can't even imagine how it must feel to lose your child. But from the time I've known you, Pete, you are one of the most positive, enlightened, giving human beings that I know. So people are going through a lot these days. One of the reasons that's why I wanted to bring you on to Moving on TV, because I want you to be able to say to people, how do you do it? How do you manage to rise above grief and the stuff that you've gone through, the pain, and carry on being such a lovely human being and a giving human being as well?
Well, because it's the best option.
Right.
All right, people, anyone, find a good reason to be upset about the way life has treated them. All right, very, very few people, have had perfect lives. All right, so I'm certainly not one. So I made a very, very painful thing happen, and we don't need to go into details of it right now. And one of the places that I use as inspiration is the movie Gandhi. If you've never seen it,
Yes.
I strongly recommend it. And in the early bits of the movie when he was still in South Africa, you know, a white punk knocked into the street. Alright. And so his minions brush him off and they're outraged at this and they ask Gandhi, what are we gonna do? He says, I'm gonna forgive him. What? Forgive him after he's outraged to you? And he said, look, alright, I'm not forgiving him for him. I am forgiving him for me. So that I don't think about it, I don't worry about it, and I can move on to bigger and better things. And at that point in time, that really helped me in a very, very difficult situation, and it is kind of one of the foundations of that I go through life of, you know, what's the point of being angry and upset and hurtful? How can I take this and make positive out of it? And so when my daughter passed, you know, I committed my life to trying to make the world a better place. All right.
So inspiring.
And
So inspiring.
the cool thing I've discovered, and I'll share with your folks, is that making the world a better place doesn't have to be a big thing. All right. So, in other words, smiling at somebody the day that they are having a horrible day and considering suicide, and you happen to smile at them that day, and they say, well, you know, if that person smiled at me, maybe I'm not that terrible. Maybe I can go on another day. And that's all it took. All right. Now, quite frankly, I imagine that could happen. I'll never know.
But you're trying.
But I'm
Doing
trying.
something.
I'm trying. You know, every person I meet, automatically, how can I put a smile on this person's face?
That's amazing. So we're going to take a break there, Pete, because
Sure.
we do need to have some adverts.
Okay.
But when we come back, we're going to talk to Pete more about this positivity and how you can do like small things a day to help yourself and to help others.
How would you get someone that's actually in intense pain, that it's hard for them to even sit and think that they could ask their pain in? How are you going to do it? Would you do that by steps, like slowly, gently? Because
The first thing that you want to do is imagine that you're holding a sword and shield while setting the sword and shield down, and then walking up to an imagined sacred space, the door opening, and then your issue, say neck pain, walking through the door, and you welcome it. You say, well,
No, rien, de rien. Oh, I love you too, Marcel. Oh, bonjour, bonjour. I want to wear my face to the audience as I would a laver. And that is why I refuse to wear the makeup and the products, not unless they are organic. Because they make me feel nude. So, come on board, organic makeup companies, moving on TV.uk. Bonjour. No, rien, no. We're back, and on the community show today I am talking to Pete Lang, who's come all the way to High Wycombe, not from New York, but actually from where you live?
I live in Wokingham.
In Wokingham. Now, before the break, we were talking to Pete about positivity and how to make the world a better place just by doing little things, kind things, in spite of the fact that we're going through a lot, you know, going through grief and all sorts of stuff. And so I've got Pete here today who wants to say a little bit about that. So what can people do on a daily basis that not only makes other people feel good, but obviously if they do something nice for someone else, they're going to feel good inside. So how did you learn all of this? Were you brought up that way?
Actually, no.
Right.
My parents grew up in wartime Europe, so there wasn't necessarily a lot of positivity going on there. And growing up in Queens, New York, there wasn't a lot of positivity. And you know how in most classes there's always one kid or two that everybody picks on?
That was you.
That was me.
Okay.
All right. And so I said, well, when I get the chance, I'm going to make sure that I do what I can to make sure that doesn't happen to other people.
Okay, so where did this come from? Because a lot of people that grow up with so much negativity and pain, they don't know how to be positive. They don't know how to be grateful. I never learned any of that. It took me a whole life transformation to be able to do this. So where did this come to? Did you have an awakening of some kind? Did you read a book?
Well, I
What
mean,
happened?
I'm going to have to say I was born with some of it. All right, because neither of my parents were terribly religious, and even though I went to a Lutheran primary school, all right, I inquired those kinds of questions. I just couldn't believe that life was meant to be miserable. All right, I wasn't prepared to accept that. All right, and I started exploring how to not be miserable. All right, and probably the first big thing that I discovered was there was a little notice behind the library that said, "Come to a class on transcendental meditation."
Okay.
All right, for free.
So that's basically the first thing.
That was the first thing.
A lot of us go into positivity that way, didn't we?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And I mean, transcendental meditation is, I think, kind of more of a business and a scam than it is, a true, let's make the world a better place kind of an organization. But nonetheless, in today's world, you can just go, type into Google, how can I meditate, or how do I learn to meditate, or go to YouTube, and there'll be hundreds of videos that will show you how to do it. All right.
They all lead to the same thing. We all want to find that positivity.
There are thousands of different meditation techniques. All right. And they're not necessarily all for the same goal. All right. Now, basic transcendental meditation and many meditations, the objective is to bring you, a human being, in contact with the totality of humanity and with the universe. All right. So there's a lot of meditation that's associated with that. All right. But there's meditation on any topic. I've got on my computer, I've got probably 10 or 15 different meditations to help you lose weight.
Okay, so, but coming back to the positive thing, what did you start using to help you to get through on a daily basis, that people can do on a daily basis, would you say?
Well, for me it was transcendental meditation, all right? And I'm not suggesting that is, I'll give you the meditation technique in the time we have left. Very simple, okay? All right, sit in a comfortable chair, sit up as straight as you can, but don't freak out about, being rigid. And breathe in, say 1. Breathe out, say 1. That's it. Keep and repeat. And then do that for as long as you want to do that for. Start off with 10 minutes, and then if you do that 20 minutes twice a day, in a month or two, you will notice something is different.
Okay, and Thank you, Pete. That's amazing, because what you're doing is you're focusing your mind. It's a bit like you could be sitting there looking at a candle, and you're looking at the flicker of the
Right.
candle,
Right.
and that brings your mind into focus,
Right.
doesn't it? It brings you into the moment.
That's right.
That's what it does.
But that is the objective of many forms of meditation. And I think personally that even people who do not believe in spiritual things are still trying to find a way to stay in the moment, because I think that's just something that human beings naturally do. That's one of the things that we have come to this world to figure out.
To stay in the moment.
How to stay in the moment. And if you can do that, you are staying closer to your higher power.
That's fantastic. So this helps you, and you've also got into Unity. When did you get involved in Unity, would you say?
I got involved in Unity in the 90s. And what happened was I had gone to a Unitarian Universalist church and decided I had moved and I wanted to go to another one. And I looked at an address in the phone book, and I thought it was a Unitarian Universalist church. It turned out to be a Unity church.
Right.
All right, and that's the first time I never even heard of Unity.
Okay.
All right, and they have a very simple 5 basic rules. That's it. There's no theology. There's nothing that you have to remember. Nothing that you have to agree to. All right. Nothing that you have to believe in. There are 5 rules, although if you don't necessarily believe in those, I'm going to kick you out either.
Sure.
And then after that, it's a safe place for you to decide, the nature of your higher power and how you can get closer to it.
Okay, so moving on from Unity, that's where I met Pete, and over the last few years, and I as I said, I have failed that you would make an incredible presenter, host for Moving On TV.
I'm honored.
Because the whole point of Moving On TV is positivity and, teaching how to rise above what's going on in our world. So how do you feel about that?
I'm quite excited.
Yeah.
I really am. As you know, I need to be a minister because, matter of fact, I finished all of my classes. All right, I've got a bunch of practical things before I get.
Did you get a title that we have to call you by?
Pete.
Just Pete.
Yeah. Yeah. You become a certified teacher. All right.
Right.
And then you become a minister.
Okay.
All right. So I'm working on my certified teacher bit. All right. But that gives you enough juice to be able to conduct the day-to-day affairs of the church. All right. Either here in Britain or in the United States. So because there are just so many people that are so sad. And I saw a BBC show about some outrageous number, like 5 million people in Britain will go an entire month without speaking to somebody on any kind of more than one sentence. And so the number of people, and it seems it's worse here than it is in the United States when it comes to that.
Moving On TV. Get them talking. Get
That's
them
true.
interacting.
That's true.
The whole point.
I really think that while the internet and TV is a one thing, all right, one bad thing about it is that it makes it a lot easier to sit in the house by yourself.
Exactly.
All right,
That's what
and so before then, people would form groups. All right, and I can tell you, all right, as somebody who in their later years, obviously I didn't go to school here. All right, it is very hard, to meet people and and to develop a social life if you didn't have one before you got here. You know, so and you know, I'm when I'm thinking about when I go back to the United States, you know, helping organize groups to get together, because people are like cattle and dogs. All right, they are herd animals.
Their followers.
Oh, well, no. In other words, they are herd animals that they don't live by themselves. That's why
They like to be with people.
they like to be with other
They're
people.
social.
That's right.
And loneliness is not a
That's right.
natural
That's right.
thing.
Which is
Exactly.
why solitary confinement is considered such an onerous punishment. All right, because I mean, are you doing anything particularly terrible to them? No. All right, you know, you're feeding them. You know, you give them a place to sleep. All right. It is you are depriving them from interacting with other human beings.
Exactly.
And
that's one of the problems, sorry Pete,
Yeah.
this is one of the problems, that loneliness causes depression and causes mental illness. You know, as you know from my story, when I was in the wheelchair, the depressions were getting very serious. So what we're trying to do here is we want to bring people on, and you know, as a host or a presenter or someone who's involved in this, in Moving On TV, we want to bring people on to get them out of the house, to find their uniqueness, to find their talents, to find anything that makes them feel that they're connected in some way to the human race. So, but I'm going to have to end the interview there. And it's wonderful having you here, and I'm really looking forward to you doing some interviews and
I look forward to it.
possibly interviewing me. So that's it today for the community show. If you have a dream or a story, you're writing a book, you want to talk about anything that makes you feel good inside, or if there's any way that we can help you combat loneliness, combat unhappiness, and stop you from watching all the negative stuff out there, then please contact me. It's Laurene, Laurene at movingontv.uk. Come on board and, you know, we'll work together. Anyway, it's lovely speaking to you today, Pete. Thank you so much.
God bless.
Take care.
All right, cheers.
Namaste, everyone.